Check 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate? Yes! Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need. Get over the fear and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with podcast number 127. Today we have 5 questions sent in by real estate investors who had a question and needed an answer, and I'm going to try my best. And remember, if you have a question, send it to support@bsffacademy.com. One more time, support@bsffacademy.com. Here we go. Question number 1. I received a call today from a seller whose primary language is Chinese and had a hard time communicating in English. What do you do when there is a language barrier with the seller who responds to your mail? Do you try to work through it or not pursue the lead? That happens a lot in our area. We have a large Hispanic population that speaks Spanish, and all of my mail pieces go out in English. So I know that someone in the residence must understand enough English to be able to correspond or communicate with whoever's calling me or calling us to tell them what the letter's about. So if that's the case, I want to find that person. It might be a 9-year-old child. It might be a relative. It may be a house cleaner, someone or housekeeper, someone. And then I'll just talk to that person, or we'll talk to that person and eventually get to the other person. What we don't want to do, especially if we can communicate, is communicate in another language over 50% of the time, unless we sign an interpreter agreement or our agreements that we use with the seller are all in that language. So you've got to be real conscientious of speaking or having someone speak to the seller. So as an example of that, if I have, say, an over 18 child speak to their parents in their language and translate for me, then I'm going to have that person actually sign an interpreter agreement, and then fall forward that way. If I start speaking Spanish, and I couldn't anyway, but if I could, and I did, and I spoke more than 50%, then my agreements would have to be in that language. Now here's a real easy thing you could do. If you're in a state that uses escrow companies and not a closing attorney, most escrow companies have the ability to have a translator in escrow. So you could go ahead and, through your escrow company, work that out. There are interpreters through them, and it may cost you some money, I don't know. But again, speak English. It's the easiest way and most legal way to transact if the agreements are all in English. If you have them in another language, then you speak that language. But great question. Hope that helped. Question number 2, how many mailers do you send per month? 220,000 pieces. So I want to send more, and we're taking steps to be able to send more. Just because you can make the phone ring by sending pieces of mail, if you don't have the right infrastructure set up, so enough Alexes in my case to answer the phone, and then enough Ryans in my case to take those phone calls and those appointments that the Alex makes and set them into contracts. And then at the end of the day, enough capital to actually buy all those contracts or those houses, then it doesn't do any good to increase the marketing budget. But we're going to be increasing it. We just negotiated some more space. I'm in a large campus building now, and we just leased another, I think it was 2,800 square feet. So I can put on more Alex Ryans and transaction coordinator. So it's a good thing. So we'll be increasing that 220,000 pieces of mail here real shortly. Question number 3, how many calls do you get per month? Oh my goodness gracious. I should be able to tell you that. Let me go to my software because I track. I can tell you, I think, well, let me see what I can tell you. Rather than guessing, I'll just look. I know now this is Wednesday morning, and so far we've had 154 calls that have gone into our contact manager. That doesn't mean we've only had 154 calls. That just means that's the amount of calls that we've gone all the way through our script, and we've determined what we wanted to do with it. It's interesting to note that more than half of them, we made appointments to buy their house. So that's kind of cool. But let me see if I can find more accurate of an answer for you. So bear with me here. I am going to change something on my reporting. And let's do last month. It's kind of cool when you have at your fingertips reporting ability in our CRM system. And keep in mind, I have a full-time system administrator now that does all this stuff for us, and sets all of our CRMs up and all the reporting components that are coming off of it, so our charts and our Excels and all that kind of good stuff that, you know, when you want to get excited and you go, yeah, I bought some houses, but really how much am I going to make from them? You have to have reports for all that stuff, and it's kind of cool. So let me see, to answer your question. Apparently I didn't do something right. I'll try again. That's why we have somebody else do this stuff, because I don't know how to do it. Oh, here we go. Okay, so last month we added 1,312 people to our CRM database. So those are the 1,312 people called us and had a house to sell. It wasn't listed with the real estate professional. They gave us all the information that we asked for. They got all the way down to the end of the call. So if I were going to guess, and it would only be a guess because I don't track how many actual calls we got through this charting that I'm looking at now, I could, if I went to my another graph, but it's not handy, I could tell you exactly how many calls from a total perspective, but that 1,312 was pretty nice. So they went through, but let's play around here with this graph, and let me tell you how many appointments were set for last month, because that'll be a nice little something to brag about. Or maybe not. So last month we made 435 appointments to buy a house. So we had 435 people who showed adequate interest and motivation to sell their house to us. That's not a bad thing at all. So that's kind of good stuff. So at your fingertips, now you know. And I'm very, very happy in the amount that we spend in marketing, and very, very, very happy on the result that we get, especially when we know the result is coming into a system that is being managed and run by people who have never bought a house, who never wanted to be real estate investors. I think a component like that is great. That when you can say to yourself, I can systemize my business. I don't have to be a piece of the business, so I don't have to teach anybody. I don't have to show anybody. I don't have to talk to any sellers, knock on any doors, and I can hire average labor. And because we have extraordinary systems, that average labor follows, then we can get extraordinary results. So I think that's a good thing.
Thanks for listening to Buy, Sell, Fix, Flip. We'll be right back. Are you running out of leads? It's time you tried Yellow Letters at yellowletters.com. Get motivated seller leads through Yellow Letters, postcards, zip letters, typed professional letters, greeting cards, door hangers, and business cards. Yellow Letters is a full-service marketing company created with your success in mind. Get the personal attention you need to get your direct mail campaign started, and get in touch at yellowletters.com.
And we are back in 3, 2, 1.
Question number 4. Which mailing list is your best list to mail to? People with equity, people that have owned their house 4 years or longer, single-family residences. I like 3 and 4 bedroom homes. Right now, sometimes we'll go to a 2-bedroom area, so we'll have to include 2 bedrooms. I don't like, except for some areas, corporates or LLCs. And I try to stay under median if I can. So in fact, some areas where the prices are all over the board, so you can buy a low house or a low cost house and a high cost house. We actually put a $30,000 minimum equity dollar on it, which is important. So that gets rid of all of the like $15,000 houses. Although I like those $15,000 houses in some areas because I can get my money back in rent in less than 2 years. So it's a good stuff. So that was a great question. Question number 5. Why are all the Alexes and Ryans female? You had stated in an earlier podcast that a dead-end voicemail needs to be a male because people look at the authority figures when being told what to do. So I'm not sure if the dead end is the right word or not, but voicemails is absolutely a male's voice. We have a tendency of following a male. Unfortunately, it's probably going to sound sexist, but it doesn't mean to be sounding that way. A little bit more than we would a female voice. Why are the Alexes and Ryans females? Because that's my temp serve company who hires all my Alexes and my Ryans for me. They've sent over a couple males for those positions. However, females like to do the job more than the guys do. I don't know what it is about the ego of a male, but I'm sure there are sociologists that can talk about that for a long time. And so the Alexes are doing a great job, and the Ryans are doing a great job, and they're all females. So yeah, I don't really have control over that. I don't want control over that. And the reason we picked Alex and Ryan and Angel as the 3 names is because they can be names of men and names of women. So it works well for that. And yeah, it's just because that's who's showing up to do the job. And so other than that, there's nothing else to say about it. I've gotta, again, go back to the fact that these are just average people. None of the people that answer the phone and negotiate and buy houses for me have ever bought a house, and some of them don't even have a house that they own, so they're still renting. Most all of them are young, so they're not seasoned like me, and they're just driven. They like the community atmosphere that we have. We have a break room that has a pool table in it, and television and radio and stereo and couches that they can sit on. We don't have a clock in that room, so in our environment, they're requested to be at work at 8 o'clock and they leave at 5. But if they're tired or if they're just stressed or whatever it is, they can get up and they can go to the break room, which doesn't have a clock in it, and they can do whatever they want. I don't run a business that has a thumb on anybody. I want people to enjoy coming to work. We cater lunch at least, I would say, once a week for the staff. I'd cater it 5 times a week if I thought that would be appropriate, but I want people that want to come here. And I find that the attrition rate isn't as large when you create an environment that people want to come to work and follow systems. And sometimes it's hard for people who've never done something to sit in a chair and do something that they've never done. And if you can make that experience as enjoyable as possible for them, they'll sit in that chair longer. So it's a good place. Great questions today. It might be a short podcast, I'm not sure, but great questions. And remember, if you have any more, send them into support@bsffacademy.com. And we'll fall forward. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.